What's up, guys? Today is day 19 on my journey to 2000, and today I played, well, last night I played 29 games. I played 29 games until like 4 a.m. in the morning, went to sleep, slept for like 4 hours. I was just obsessed. I was like, I'm gonna reach 1600. I'm not gonna stop until I reach 1600. I didn't reach 1600, but it was fun. I learned a lot, and we're gonna review each of those games. So this is gonna be quite a video. I also did like 17 puzzles, and something special or interesting to me about puzzles is that I'm paying more attention now to puzzles. So what does that mean, paying more attention? That means, let's see, I see this puzzle, and I make the move queen captures on, I take this rook. I'm like, it's a free rook, why wouldn't I take it? And then I get it wrong, and I see that the actual move is to push this pawn and then take the rook. Instead of just like going on to the next puzzle, which sometimes I do without fully understanding, I just take a second to try to understand, okay, why? Oh, I look around, there's a rook and bishop attacking here, so if I just take this rook, his rook can come in and check me. Okay, so now I understand why I push the pawn forward. If he brings the rook here, the bishop watches that square, the g2 square, the pawn is threatening the bishop here. So okay, makes sense. And then I'm gonna try to like force myself to imagine a scenario like this in one of my games and think, okay, this is a free rook. But wait, before I take the rook, what's going on in this position? The bishop and rook are eyeing towards my king. What if I push this pawn? And I'll think more about that. So that's like an example of how I'm trying to approach puzzles a bit differently now. But let's go to the meat of the stuff today. And then hopefully tomorrow we'll continue with Tata's steel games. Because I learned something from these 29 games. I learned that I am, in fact, not ready to be 1600. Or I was just really tired because it was 3 a.m. Anyway, in the first game, I wrote notes for kind of the main things I wanted to poke in each of these games. And in the first game, I kind of make the mistake of not taking with the lower piece. That's one thing. I also don't realize over here. So that's the first thing right here. So I'm winning by 0.8, which is pretty significant, and then it neutralizes my winning chances. I saw this move, but I thought, oh, the knight just moves away, targets my bishop, and now I have these doubled pawns. And I didn't like that. I guess I also didn't like opening up his rook. Apparently, this is all fine, and it's because you could take with check, and then you're just winning. Like, the big threats into the position are gone, the queens, right? And you're threatening the bishop, and the bishop is forced to like go back, and you're literally putting the bishop on the last row. And you have all this control. You could start even attacking this pawn right here. So this is a crazy position that I wouldn't have imagined. I think the meat of this decision of taking with the pawn comes with recognizing that if the knight wants to move here, you could ruin the pawn structure in front of the king. But more, I don't know if it's more importantly, it gives black eyes on this pawn. It just makes you a pawn up. And I think that's just the meat of this right here. Makes you a pawn up with check, forcing getting the queens off the table and just putting you in a very nice position. That being said, I mean, I guess you could push this back or just push this. Let's see, this. Wow, yeah, you could just push the pawn. That's crazy. So you don't even give white a chance to attack. So that was my big mistake here. I didn't take with the lower valued piece because I didn't appreciate this attack. I was worried about the doubled pawns. In the future, maybe I should, I don't know, like I should pay attention that when you take with a pawn, it gives you that open space. So anyway, I don't do that. I take with the bishop. All of these trades happen. And you see I can't even take and double his pawns over here. He attacks, and then I do this move. Bishops are better in open positions, right? Because you could see more of the board. Knights are better in closed positions because they could kind of run around and have outposts. Areas where they can't get attacked by pawns. So, I'm thinking I just want to put pressure and attack him here. But I'm also making this pawn weak, and it's very easy to be targeted. Something we kind of learned yesterday was rooks are super powerful and they could indirectly like target things, and I feel like me and my opponents kind of ignore that. Anyway, I see this knight being having that outpost there. So we could see that also creates that outpost. Like if I came here, maybe it's slightly better because there's no outpost, I don't know. But anyway, this is what happens. And I trade off the knights, and I'm feeling pretty good about that. I start trading off pieces, and I'm down a pawn. I kind of screw up the exchange here. But that's okay, because of what happens. This whole time, I think I was supposed to make sure and understand that a passed pawn here was a threat. And I kind of understood, but kind of didn't either. So I'll go over that in a second. At this point, he lets me take his pawn for free, and I'm like, okay, I actually have a shot. Before, he was supposed to put his queen here to essentially push his pawn to try to promote. And I'm just worried about this side. Look how beautiful this game turns. It's just so nice. I just saw everything. Like, oh, even though I made so many mistakes, look at that checkmate. Oh, so beautiful. Anyway, it started off with a good day, right? Good first game. The next few were jumbled around a bit. I just wanted to kind of make different themes. So here it's also about taking with the lower piece. I kind of grouped my games into different themes. Not completely, because I was a little lazy, not gonna lie. I made so many blunders here, but I forgot about this this cheap everyone knows the name of it, attack, which I don't remember the name of right now. I just forgot about it. I used to like play against it. Anyway, all of this happens, and I forget I'm just hanging a knight, because usually a bishop would be here. Like, that's such a dumb blunder. I just blitz out this move in 2 seconds. I was playing really fast yesterday. And I take the pawn, and I get into the position, and again, I don't take with the lower piece. Look at the difference. Look at the evaluation here. Look at what taking with the lower piece does. If he moves here, I can just get into the position, I guess. And, okay, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't really analyze this too much. Ah, I push him to the back. Right? And I could even take his rook. Jesus Christ. That's some crazy stuff. I did see some of this stuff, though, a little later on. So again, the purpose here, kick the knight away, and then I could push the pawn. Oh my god. Like, it's just crazy. It's crazy. Anyway, at this point, I see that I could take here, but I'm really scared of the threats, and I wanted my rook to get to safety, but I thought maybe I could just check my way out of it. And I take this rook, and I don't take the other rook. I'm just screwing up the whole, like... this is just bad. The one big thing I'm going to take from this game, though, is that, you know, taking with the lower piece, lower valued piece, is something to consider more with more value in the future. And this is just terrible. I mean, yeah, I just lose this game. Okay, third game. A lot of these games are just calculating errors, hanging pieces, and a lot of times I hang pieces after like 30-second things, which is kind of sad. So here we got Karo Khan, and the position is, you know, it's pretty normal stuff. And here I actually see this move, and I calculate, and I'm like, I don't really like this move, because in my head I'm thinking he could just take this, and I don't know, I completely forget that the pawn is attacking the queen. And this is the idea of, like, undervaluing pawns, I guess, specifically. I also saw that the rook could come out, and it still works. It still works, because you're attacking the queen here. Wait, what happened in the game? Like, if I came here, it still works, because I'm still attacking the queen if I go here, and if he takes, I can take, and again, I'm still threatening the queen. It's like I undervalued how serious this threat was. And then I could just, you know, win the bishop. So, just bad calculation on my part. Just understanding that pawns, you know, after they move, things happen. That's important. And the rest of the game, I just don't play the best moves. And we don't need to go through the rest of it. The big thing was just the calculating error with the pawn after the capture. For me, that I wanted to kind of emphasize. Another interesting thing is here, but this is like endgame stuff. I'm not gonna overanalyze it too much. Okay. Not because it's endgame stuff, but because I don't want to pull out too much from each game, because it might be too confusing for me personally. Okay, here there was a knight move sack, and then a pawn move blunder. Pawn moves, man. Pawn moves. So I had... wait, no, it's not here. right here, I could sack, because again, I'm creating the threat of attacking the queen. I say again because that was similar in another one. And then I could take the bishop. Like, I didn't see that. I just didn't see that. Like, it didn't even come to mind. I didn't even think about that move, you know? And the game goes on. Look how many moves we just miss it. We both miss it. And then I have a pawn move blunder. This pawn move blunder I was so sad about because my opponent blunders. Okay? My opponent blunders because I take the rook. I take his other knight. So I got a rook and a knight for a knight. And what did he get with his bishop? He got my bishop and a pawn. And 2 pawns. And then I took his bishop. Basically, I'm up material because people forget knights move backwards. I make that mistake sometimes too. And I'm like, okay, I'm feeling really good. And I'm like, let me just trade everything off. Well, look how idiotic I am. This takes away the protection of the queen. And I saw it. I saw this as a viable threat, but I didn't analyze how it could push my king away. I was just like, let me trade everything. Let me go fast. And I just resigned. I was like, I was so mad at myself for this game. This is just sad, you know? And I think at this point, I was at my highest rating. Oh, no, or close to my highest rating. My highest rating from this whole journey was like 1569. And then it dropped down to around 1550 something. So, yeah. Here I hung my rook in a 30-second calculation. And I feel like 30 seconds is quite a long time to hang a rook. Also, I don't know what's going on in this game. I need to analyze the French defense and the Caro-Kann. I used to. But, like, French defense, Caro-Kann, pawn moves. Those are the kind of vibes that I was getting. I just wrote them down now because I see it more and more while we're going through the games now. Because I'm just not playing this well. That being said, the game is still not over because I get into the position here. And here, you know, there's this hit on my rook. And I'm just completely winning. And I move my rook. I think, oh, let me have some trick, you know, trying to hit the king. Yeah, like what if I move my bishop here? And yeah, he could take my knight maybe, but it's okay because I can move my bishop somewhere with check and then bring my queen and it's checkmate. Hello? Boom. Hello, ping. Look at that bishop. So that was really bad. And that took me 30 seconds to calculate. I just completely missed. And I'm thinking, oh, maybe I could go for this, like, I could go for a draw and eventually I lose the game a little later on. So a lot of very stupid, quick mistakes. I'll say playing fast feels more confident in a way because I feel like I'm putting pressure on my opponent. And I used to not really play fast and I would feel the pressure from my opponent. So the psychological effect is also a big thing for today. Last night, that I kind of recognized from my play. Like psychological effect, studying some openings like French defense and Caro-Kann, and pawn moves. Pawn moves is a big one. Okay, here I take 26 seconds to blunder, so a little different. Not 30 seconds, 26. And I don't know how I just missed this. I feel like I almost never miss a threat like that, and I just do. I miss it. And that just kind of screws my whole game. I think I resign or something here. A lot of stupid mistakes, you know? Here I missed a tactic with the queen and bishop, but I still played pretty well. This is so cool. And I think this is in some gambits, where you line up the bishop and queen. And the idea is that you're attacking this pawn, giving check, and potentially bringing your queen to do some damage. In this case, the bishop has an eye on this spot, but whatever. And if black tries to defend with the queen, you could actually take the pawn and threaten to take the rook. And it's not even just a threaten, it's you're going to take the rook, right? I completely missed that. I spent like 20 seconds, 13 seconds, whatever, and I just moved to the side. But I'm still winning because of how it plays out. And at this point, my opponent resigned. My opponent resigned because I'm attacking the king and he can't do anything. So, kind of cool. I know we're speeding up through these. Usually we don't speed up as much, but there's 29 games, guys. A lot of games. So, yeah. This game I had a 2-second blunder in a losing game. And I say that And this reminds me of the psychological effect, or makes me think of the psychological effect, because in this game I messed up a lot, I believe, and if it's not in this game, it was in other games as well, but I had a chance to come back, and because I messed up so much and I recognize I'm losing, I don't recognize when I have a chance to come back. I just don't. Yeah, I remember actually exactly what happened in this game. I'm clearly losing here. This is a losing game, you know? I have a bishop and a rook. He has a bishop and a rook. Sure, his king is in the back row, but 1, 2, 3, and 5. He has 5 pawns, and my pawns are all separated, right? This is clearly losing. I'm just blitzing out moves, and in 2 seconds, I take this pawn. Look at that. Boom. That wins. There's no rook. My opponent has no rook, and I just miss it. So that's the idea of the psychological effect. You have to stay on your toes every move. You can't be lazy in chess. Every move you have to think, because the game can change in a split of a second. Okay, we went over a lot of like blunders and like taking with the lower piece. I'm just looking at my list here, and the psychological effect and openings that I had trouble with, which we're gonna see later on also. But these next 2 games had to do with tension. So you might be thinking, oh, I'm writing down a lot and I'm thinking of a lot of different like themes and stuff. But the fact of the matter is, I'm not going to be playing 20 games a day. Maybe at one point I will be. Right now, I want to learn more than play. I was just really in the mood to play last night. So that's why I ended up playing. And, you know, I played fast, and this is what happened. So in this game, I should have let the tensions stay. This doubled pawn structure, I'm typically not good with dealing with it, and I end up losing a pawn or two because I just don't know how to deal with it. I hate that the knight is here. I hate that this knight can get into this position and be very annoying, and I don't know how to deal with that. So I push this pawn forward. I push this pawn forward, and I push the other pawn forward. And you might be thinking, so what if you're pushing the pawn forward? Well, the knight could have moved there anyway. Why would I push the pawn forward, allowing him to take it for free? Right? It makes no sense. And then, like, I could connect these pawns. I remember analyzing this, and again, taking with the lower piece. Right? This pawn is more annoying into the position. If he tries to go here, I can en passant, you know, which could be possibly frustrating in the future. I don't know. But anyway, it's in the position. Why would I put my bishop there, which can get attacked very easily anyway? So, which it does get attacked, and you see how this kind of progresses. And here I'm thinking, I thought long actually about this move, and I didn't like how open it was, how a rook could just come into the position, but I kind of underestimated how powerful he can make my king just run around. Especially when I run towards the danger, so I just resign at this point. Like, I should have kept the tension. So if we look all the way back here, right? I should have kept the tension. You know, this defends my knight. My bishop is still very flexible to come back. My king is actually kind of safe. And I just push. I push my pawns, and I'm guessing I'm pushing towards this direction, and my bishop could actually be useful here, right? Maybe I castle, maybe I don't, but like, it's more structured. I kind of ignore that. This game is also a lesson in tension. Letting the tension stay. And this has to do with the Caro-Kann. I used to play the Caro-Kann. I studied it on YouTube like a year ago, but I don't remember the best moves. I know that closing off the position isn't good, but I don't like tension because it's more calculation. No one wants to calculate more, it feels like, right? This is fine. You know, I'm scared of this move coming into the position, and this. That's what I'm scared of. That's why I'm too lazy to calculate it. But what I don't realize is that I'm actually the one attacking at the end of the day. Like, he has no check because the knight covers. So this actually traps the queen. And I didn't do that. And of course, if he takes here, the bishop comes out, right? So that's something I have to kind of work on. And I'm not going to say that lost me the game, because you could see it's still neutral and stuff, but I definitely don't know what the hell I'm doing here. And here I don't take, because if I take, he comes in with the attack on my rook. Well, actually, my queen is covering it anyway. I just didn't want his queen to come in. So yeah, letting the tension stay is something I think I need to keep in mind of. Okay, that being said, I think I made some freaking cool moves in this game. Even though I was losing, I just demolished. Like, I brought my queen into the position. I took his queen to simplify. I was just simplify. And I finally had the chance to take this pawn. And I didn't even see this threat, to be honest. I did not, that and the rook coming in, I didn't see it, but neither did my opponent. And here, after this, my opponent resigns. Or runs out of time. Ah, they clocked me out. They literally made me wait 3 minutes, 47 seconds. I was like, bro, I don't want to report you, I said, or something. But, yeah, so letting the tension stay. So, you know, psychological effect, French defense, Caro-Kann, pawn moves, tension. Those are the things, kind of. Okay. Now we're on to game 11, believe it or not. I blunder in calculation again. And this calculation is a 10-second calculation. So Sicilian opening, you know, kind of cool. I don't know the Sicilian that well. But I'm playing what I think is okay. I see my rook gets control of the open file, and I'm like, oh, this is great. You know? Like, his pawn structure is kind of screwed, and I'm definitely winning, is what I'm thinking. Okay? Well, here, I'm kind of blitzing out moves, and I blunder. Why do I blunder? Because I'm thinking, wow, I'm pinning. If he takes, then I take, and I'm in a good position. But hey, you have a bishop hanging. Maybe I thought this bishop wasn't hanging because of the pin, but the pin's gone when the bishop takes, right? So these are like kind of easy calculation errors. I'm not gonna get too mad at myself about that one. I did during the game, but you know, you live, you learn type of thing. And here I come back in the most savage way possible. I get so lucky. I'm like, there's no way this will work. Look at that, bro. Oh my god. That was so many games like just turned in a second. Like, I think the mentality of a 1600 player is tactics based. That's, at least I am, and a lot of people I play with. And so like, games don't really get drawn that often. And they go into these weird things where one mistake can kind of screw everything. And I think positional play and learning about positional play is going to be very important as my next step, I think, from 1600 onward. I do, though, want to like focus on the psychological effect, those openings I mentioned, and everything I'm mentioning so far, before moving on to studying positional play, just because I feel like that's a little more dry. And I don't know, I guess I want to study the Tata Steel games first, to be honest. So, yeah, my opponent resigns here. 4-second move, blunder, protection of king. That's what I wrote. Ah, yes! I make these types of mistakes a lot too, actually. Especially when I play too fast, to be honest. So here, look at the brilliant move! Sacking my rook! Sacking my rook to gain his rook. And, yeah, I'm playing super well. And then I do this stupid move where I see this checkmate threat, and I think I'm stopping it. And I've done this move multiple times during games before. It's just not a good move. You're letting him get closer, right? This type of move has annoyed me so much that hopefully this specific like move will just not be something I do anymore. So I'm not really gonna make a note of that, but that was frustrating. And you could see like the elo bar kind of jumps up, and the game changes a lot at this point. And the idea here, for those wondering, is like, you come here and I don't know. I'm not gonna pretend like I know. Okay, but that's the best move. We just had a bunch of misses here, and I think my opponent ended up winning in this game because I let him get a queen like an idiot. So that's always pretty cool. Aha! The first game and possibly the only game. You guys want to see this? 2350 rating. Hey, you guys want to see this? Game 13, good. That's the only note I wrote here. The only note I wrote. Oh my god. Anyway. So this is what happened here. I love the Scotch, and when people play the classical, I know exactly what moves to make. And a lot of people will think there's nothing going on and just develop normally, not realizing that this attacks the queen and the bishop at the same time. A concept that I miss, ironically enough, in my own games, but I understand in this opening. So my opponent resigned here. Oh, that was such a satisfying game. I think that's how I reached 14 or 1500 or something, actually. If you check my live, if you check on the YouTube channel and you go under live, you could see my journey from like 1000 to 1500 or something, which is pretty cool. I played 7 hours a day at a certain point. Okay. Here there's a... oh, okay. First of all, here, we're not even going to talk about this mistake. We're not going to talk about that. Maybe I messed that up a little bit, but the point is, like, I get my knight trapped. if I take... The example here is quiet moves, which goes back to the idea of drawing and tactics and positional play. Positional play? Nope. I want to do crazy stuff, right? And that's what I feel like made me play much worse in this game. We're going to go over that in a second. There's a bunch of other, like, interesting stuff in this game, but we'll go over that in a sec. At this point, I was... Oh, look at that. Look how beautiful that is. I mean, it wasn't that beautiful, but I was happy about it. So if we just jump over here, I'm clearly winning. Here, I'm low on time, and I don't know what the hell's wrong with me. There's a free knight. And then he realizes it, I realize it. And I'm trying to get into the position. I don't know how to. I remember this game. Oh my god, look how much I'm suffering. I'm getting low on time. I have to get into the position. I'm not drawing this. I'm trying to get into the position. Look, my king's all the way in the position. Now what? How do I get closer? So this is how you get closer. And I'm at 3 seconds. I'm not going to blame myself for this. There's no increment. Okay. You know, there's a second left, and we repeat moves. Thank God, right? At least I was smart to repeat moves. But... Oh, wait. What did I say? This move... Oh, yeah. Quiet move. Move the rook. That's all I have to do. Just move the rook once. And the idea is if he spams this move again, it's different. It's different because I could just take the knight, right? I'm not checking him this time. But if he moves the pawn here, I actually get closer, and now I could start eating his pawns, which is like the whole point of going around. I just didn't see it. Like, it's not my mentality to see these, like, quiet moves of just moving a rook one over. You know, I generally don't see that, and that kind of made me not win this game, I feel like. But, you know, I'm versing like 1600s now. It feels good to be on that level. And then here also, I have to realize that draws are common. You know, there's a reason why GMs draw. I mean, they play much better than me. That's a reason, but there's a reason they draw. So initially, I'm playing this beautifully, and then I lose a bunch of pawns, and I'm still playing this like decently. First of all, I don't take this pawn, which is... Wait, did I screw something up? No, I didn't screw something. I don't take this pawn. Finally, I take the pawn. And I get checkmate. I'm stupid. This is not the game I thought it was. This was the good game, probably. I screwed up my notes. I don't know what this was, actually. What was this? Oh. I'm so sorry, guys. I'm so sorry. This was game 15 here. Overthinking, but proud of myself. I knew I was winning after I took the free knight in this game, but I was proud of myself just for getting in this position and winning. But I was at the same time overthinking, and I missed taking the pawn for free earlier on. So that was the interesting thing there, I guess. All right. Let's go to this game. Another Karo Khan, another case of me being lost. Another case of me being lost. I'm trying to attack the queen, put some pressure, and, you know, get into the position and make some stuff happen. And here I'm thinking, wow, my pieces are coordinated so nicely. Look how beautiful this is. Look how crazy this is. Look how crazy everything is. Look at the time. Scramble. 55 seconds against 42 seconds. And he makes this blunder. He makes this blunder because if I go F4, he goes E2, right? Because he doesn't... Wait, what is it going to? He goes E2 because... Oh, because I'm attacking... Oh, yeah. Because I'm attacking the bishop. So I didn't even realize I was attacking the bishop. And then I finally realized it, and look at all this. I'm like, I take the pawn, and this game is crazy, and I don't know what happens here, actually. What? Oh, this is what happens. My opponent runs out of time. 18 seconds left. By the way, I versed this player twice. A pretty good player for 1482, right? This is the second time I versed him. Second time I versed him. Okay, Scotch. And look at this. This is beautiful in the Scotch. If you get this position in the Scotch, it's so nice. I think my notes are a little screwed up, so I apologize for that. But I'm going to try my best to remember what the purpose of stuff going on here is. And here it's a knight move. And the idea here is to go right away for the pawns, I suppose, and start to put pressure right away. I spent a long time before actually doing that because I feel like I could go for it later. Apparently, I shouldn't have. Because I also get closer to the position. Eventually, I finally get there. I take 2 pawns, and I make my way downtown, you know? Making my way downtown. And I get out of that scenario. Then I trade bishops, and oh, this was so beautiful. I calculate this, that if he takes, I could actually catch up with this. Just barely catching up. And I'm hoping that these 3 pawns can make it. Like, I'm just, you know... I see that, but my opponent doesn't trade. And it allows me to take, and because of puzzles, I see this because of puzzles, I'm not going to lie, this protects here, and I don't need to waste a turn doing it. I could start pushing my pawns, pushing my king, and the way I convert this, I know it might not be too impressive, but I make a red carpet for my pawn, and he eventually resigns here. I was pretty happy about that, but that was a knight move type thing. And this was a 5-second blunder, which was... This is why I don't play fast, guys. This is why you don't play fast. I just blunder. I forget that the knight is watching this. I can't take it with my queen. My opponent played like a 2050. Bishop move is slow. Oh, yeah. I have this idea of coming here a lot of times in games to get rid of the bishop here and make this an actual hole that my opponent needs to worry about. The thing is, when I trade the bishop doesn't have access to that hole. That's number 1. Number 2 is it's a bit of a slow move. And what I mean by that is when I move the bishop there, he doesn't need to attack right away. Right here, my better move would have been to castle, get my king to safety, and then maybe do that later if I want, I'm guessing. But when I would watch Master Games, at a certain point I was reading a book a little bit, Bobby Fischer's best 50 games or whatever, and I saw that they didn't do this move. And there's another reason, you're indirectly attacking the queen. So I think this is a great example, again, of keeping the tension and not trying to simplify when you don't need to. So again, keeping the tension comes back here. I thought that was like my big thing here, even though there were other mistakes and other stuff. And I just thought, I was so proud. I was so happy with this. I looked at everything. You know, sometimes you get this false feeling that you're making a mistake because the position looks scary. Here, I recognize that he has to sack his queen. And that is actually the best move. Because my threat is mate. So I give up my bishop and I go for the mate. Oh, so beautiful. Sorry, that sounded weird. Aha. This game was pretty. So right away I'm getting doubled pawns. Anytime you can make a doubled pawn, when they don't move back, they move back because they want to double it this way and give it to the next person. I meant split pawns, not doubled pawns, but it also becomes doubled pawns. They want to open up their rook, attack where you're going to castle, blah, blah, blah. This is good for me. So I'm thinking I'm winning at this point. Of course, I'm not because I don't know what I'm saying. And the game progresses. We're not going to overanalyze everything once again. We're just going to look at it like this. Now, I considered this knight move, but I don't like it. What I fail to realize is how strong it is to take the pawn. Like, this threat is kind of gone for now, you know? Instead of that, I move my queen to attack this. He comes to attack, which, by the way, if you see the engine says to take, I bring my knight, again, wrong, because I should just kick the rook, and I don't want to lose my knight, my bishop to my knight. Did I say I bring my knight? Yeah, I bring my knight. And then this is how the game progresses. Okay. At a certain point, I realized that I could check here, potentially win a rook later on, or the pawn, or just get into the position. I realized that. What I don't realize is that the most beautiful way to do it, even at this point I'm thinking I gotta do something. Maybe I gotta, you meet a threat with another threat. Like I'm thinking of this. Again, quiet move. Just make the position better. This position is better. Why is this position better? Let's think about it. Well, now the bishop isn't attacking me. And now this move, if he takes... Well, first of all, he wouldn't take like that. He'll lose his queen. I do get into the position. I don't play it in that manner, though. I push the pawn. He takes. And I do see. So why is this miss? He was supposed to take my my queen, preventing my queen from coming in. And then something like this. And then white is winning, ironically enough. Doesn't do that. I get into the position, and I try to wreak havoc. I see, oh, I thought I was so clever with this knight move to check and then win his rook. But apparently I could have just attacked. And then we're not going to overanalyze, but I kind of speed up the play, and it's just so many cool stuff here. The second I play this pawn move, I'm like, holy shit, I had this. And I'm getting scared, I'm running low on time, but I know I have something here. I know I have an attack. Like, I purposefully give up. Look how good of a, cool of a move that is. I give up my pawn so I could pin this, and he doesn't have many places to go. If he goes somewhere like here, like, I don't know, something like this, and then I'm guessing I could somehow get into the position. Actually, that's mate already. Jesus. Wait, that's not right, mate. Anyway, there's a way to get... I guess I could get into the position anyway, right? And then deliver check. And then mate. I didn't see that. But I knew I had something here. And I bring my queen, and look at this, he can't take my queen because it's just so beautiful. And he pushes the pawn, and then right after this move, I see my mistake. He brings the queen, but he takes my rook. He doesn't take my queen. I don't know why he doesn't take my queen, but maybe he's also pressured. He has two times the time I have. And he takes my rook, I take his queen, and I guess he thought he could still take with the bishop. And it's just game. I get checkmate with 54 seconds, feeling like the game is, like, it's over. So, yeah. That was a 15-second blunder I wrote. Like, I make like 30-second blunders typically, and when I think for like 2 minutes, a lot of times I actually make decent moves, surprisingly enough. So that was that. The next few games, I think, have to do with me just being tired. It was like 3-4 a.m. when I was playing, and I just need to restudy the Caro-Kann and stuff, because this is the Caro-Kann, and this is not how you play against it. I remembered at one point you take and you split your pawns when this is blocked in. I thought it was when the knight comes out. Maybe it just depends on the position. Again, I have to study this more. This is just bad. This is just bad. Funny thing is, even here, I could have saved the position a little bit. I don't. And I think I just speed up. I see my rook is stuck, and I'm just mad at myself. I'm just screwing up, and I resign at a certain point. That was a frustrating game because I didn't think enough, but really I didn't remember the Caro-Kann moves. I should have kind of just thought, right? If you think, you could find the best moves or the book moves, I feel like. But anyway, in this game I got scared and I didn't calculate well. And it was too late. That's what I wrote. Because it said the bird. A lot of times I'll press the button and it says in the middle of the game, it'll tell you what opening it is, and it said bird's opening. And I remember seeing online, people lose to the bird's opening, and I never really looked at those videos, but I was like, oh shit, this is the bird opening. Like, I don't have the thunder opening that takes out the birds or something. So I didn't know what to do. I could have just developed normally. I'm so popular. Anyway, I could have just developed normally. I didn't. And instead I get my knight trapped with the simplest thing. Funny thing is, my opponent doesn't know they're opening either. They could have won a free knight like 3 turns in a row. Oh my god. So I just resign at this point because I lose my bishop, and I'm like, why did I move my bishop there? I just, so stupid. That's, again, psychological effect, right? We see psychological effect, tension, building up tension, which has to do with positional play, pawn moves. I think positional play and the psychology have to be like the main takeaways. And then some of these openings. But obviously that's obvious. That's always going to be a main takeaway. But that's something that I'm paying more attention to. Here, I push for the center. I don't know why I push, and I play this differently than I normally would. Normally I would just develop this knight. I don't. So this was really cool though. I castle, leaving my bishop to die because I have this move, and it just looks so cool. Oh, I love seeing that blue exclamation points. Anyway, I get into the position of my enemy. He's my enemy. My opponent just resigns here. So again, study the Caro Khan. Study the Caro Khan. All book moves, yeah, that's fine and good. Until it's not fine and good and you take. Like, why? Why did I take? I allowed him to get into the position. At least I saw this move. I'm not gonna lie, I was happy that I saw this move. But, you know, the bishop being able to take and splitting my pawns is not a good thing. Thankfully, my opponent, I don't know what they were doing, and I brought my bishop back. Maybe they don't know the opening that well either. And here I'm blundering because actually he could take and threaten the queen. Another kind of thematic thing, and if I take like this, he's pinning the rook, and that's winning apparently. So I remember, I forgot it. I looked this over before, obviously though. Look at this, knight. They're dancing back and forth, knight, and then it's like, nope, we don't care. At a certain point, I bring my other knight in to have this kind of cute fork. But it's so funny, like, the amount of knight, right? The knight attacks the queen. It takes away the protection of, what does it do? I don't remember. It did something. And I'm just like, I'm not seeing it. And here I get the luckiest thing ever. He trades a pawn for a queen. And yeah, the game is over. The game is over, but he keeps fighting, so I'm like, all right, you want to fight? Let's fight. Look at this sexy move. Take my queen. I'm gonna... just crazy. And I guess he resigned here. I don't remember. It doesn't say. Maybe I passed the resign button. I don't know. Yeah, this is where the game may have continued. Whatever. So that was the Caro Khan. Okay, we're on game 25. Good job, guys. Whoever's actually still here. I see some of you guys commenting that stuff. I really appreciate it. Say sweatpants in the comments so I know you're here, you know? That would be cool. Anyway, in this game, my note was that I played solidly. The Sicilian, surprisingly, I play pretty solidly. Again, I don't keep the tension. Keep the tension. What's the purpose of taking? What's the purpose? I'm opening up his bishop. There's no purpose. Why not just keep the tension? I'm scared to keep the tension. That's the answer. I'm scared that it gets too complicated for my small brain. I have to be more confident in how I play. Anyway, this is how the game progresses. And even though all that stuff happens, I still think I played pretty solidly because I'm consistently and constantly attacking the queen. I'm punishing it for coming out early. And you could see how active my pieces are. Like, look how many pieces are here and kind of how his pieces look. At least it felt like that to me. And again, I make this mistake. This bishop-queen mistake, right? Which I mentioned before in a previous game. So it's good I'm making these mistakes. I think when I don't know what to do, I do that mistake. I do that move. And the point here, I think, is just to stop the bishop in its tracks. And, you know, if the pawn pushes, like, you want the pawn to push, right? So the other thing it does is maybe lets the... So the other thing this move does is it lets the bishop come here in the future with the queen watching it, and the rook could come out more safely. Something like that, maybe. I don't see any of that. I take his bishop, and I'm thinking, okay, this is much easier because I took his bishop. Okay. All of this stuff happens surprisingly pretty decently. My opponent is playing super quick. It's a little intimidating, I'm not going to lie. But I'm thinking. I'm like, I'm going to think. And I do. I think. And finally, he makes this mistake, and oh, look at this beautiful move. He can't take because it's pinned, and if he doesn't deal with the pin, then I take, and he can't check because I take, and if he comes here, I could attack here, and he still has to deal with this issue. So this was a very satisfying game. Very satisfying. But it's cool to see the same mistakes, right? Again, knights. You know what? I'm just going to write down knights. Knights. I think knights a lot of times break the tension. Pawn breaks also do, obviously. But I feel like knights a lot of time break the tension because at this level, me and my opponent don't see how powerful the knight is and what it could do. Anyway, in this game... Oh, I actually remember this game. I think my opponent was playing super fast, and that was frustrating me. You see, knights. This whole time, I saw this idea, but I'm like, what do I do? What's the purpose behind this? I cannot play this move right now. What is the purpose of this? What do I do after the knight comes here? I mean, the pawn comes here. What do I... Well, bro. The knight is defending the queen. I missed that in a different game as well, actually, right? Or I could have had an opportunity like that in a previous game. So, very interesting stuff. Here, I get into the position with the knight, and I'm thinking, oh, this is pretty good because I'm going to fork the rook and the bishop. I'll take the bishop. And yeah, it's going to open up this, but we don't have many pieces. We don't have the queens on the board. So I feel like this might be good. But then I thought, okay, like these are doubled pawns in the center. Maybe that's not good. And I come here to pin this. I'm really scared of this bishop. I'm scared of like this whole thing. And that's why I do it. I could have just taken it. I could have just taken it. It was just a free pawn. There's nothing to be afraid of. And I guess the idea is that if this, I have so many ways of defending this. You know, I could come here, but the funny thing is, I don't even need to defend it. I could ignore it. Because if this, I mean, I'm threatening my own stuff and I'm getting into the position. I didn't really see that. Obviously. I'm playing these weird moves. I'm trying to get my knight into the game, and here I just blunder. Why do I blunder? Because I thought of all these moves, but my knight can't escape. It has nowhere to escape. If I go somewhere like here, it goes a7, and that's it. My knight is trapped. Knights are very cool at going forward, but they could also be trapped. I'm saying this like people don't know. Here I recognize this is a way to get my knight out, and I try to do these like slick things with the rook, and I get the knight out, and I take the pawn, and I calculate all these things pretty decently. My opponent is playing a little slower, and well, we're just gonna skip ahead because I don't think there was any. It was an interesting game, but I don't think it was anything like crazy. The idea here is I just wanted to trade. Again, I'm scared. I'm scared of the confrontation of making a bad move. But I'm like, you know what? No, I'm gonna attack now. Watch this, guys. What? This was one of the saddest things ever. Okay, and look at the time. Look at the time. 38-second end game blunder. That's what I wrote down. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this move. I don't know how to play end games when I'm low on time. I need to practice more end games. Is that another note? End games? No, I feel like I don't make that. Like, I make mistakes with end games, but it's mistakes that aren't big enough that I have to really, really study it at the moment, I believe. But look at this. Oh my god, I forget the rook could just take it. This move works because after this, I just get a queen and it's mate. Not yet, but it's mate. Oh, that's a longer mate. It doesn't even matter how. I mean, come on, look at this. Right? I don't need to be a genius to figure out where mate is there. Oh, 38 seconds left on the clock, and I blunder that. So that was very frustrating. Not only do I blunder it, look what I end up doing. I move my rook. I move my rook to attack the pawn, which my king defends. It's like... I was a nice person. I resign here. I was also lower on time. Oh my god. Don't play fast if you're losing, because that's how it's faster to blunder. Don't play fast if you're winning, because that's how it's faster to blunder. That is the key point in this game. When people play the Hillbilly, I tend to be pretty happy because I feel like I can handle it well. Hillbilly is basically Karo Khan, but the bishop comes out and has to move twice. And I feel like no one knows how to play it. This is some crazy Greek gift stuff right here. Look at that. Oh, look how beautiful that is, right? Assuming he would go back with the king, but still. I don't see it. I don't even look for it, unfortunately. And the game progresses in this manner. Look at that, man. Oh my god. Look at that. So look how crazy this is. Neither of us saw this. I saw this after analyzing. I'm pinned. Again, rooks, right? This is the lesson from yesterday. Rooks, or the day before. I'm pinned. If I take, I'm pinned this way now. Oh my god, how insane is that to be a pawn up? How insane is that? Neither of us saw it, though. He checks with the queen, gets into the position, and I'm just blocking everything. And it's actually pretty even at this point, right? Trading stuff off. And I make the stupidest mistake. I let him capture with the pawn. There's 7 minutes left. Why am I moving so quick? Why am I making these mistakes? I try to get into the position, but look, there's 5 pawns. There's 5 pawns. What the hell could I do? Then I just pre-move. I'm like, you know what? Maybe I could get a stalemate. Look what this asshole does. Look what this guy does, man. Oh, I was about to say, what if I moved here? Oh my god. I was just pre-moving everything. I might have gotten a stalemate. Oh my god. Whatever, that didn't happen. Oh. 2 games left, guys. We're almost to the finish line. Hope it's interesting. Damn, this is gonna be my longest video yet. I mean, I did play 29 goddamn games. Again, I gotta learn my openings here. I wasn't playing well. And I recognized I wasn't playing well. And with that recognition came the idea to try to flag my opponent. But we have so much time on the clock. And this goes back to an idea I had before, the psychological effect. I know I'm losing, but I have to play every move as if it means something, because it does mean something. Every move does mean something. And I was calculating. At this point, I was trying to calculate, but I was trying to move quickly. And what I don't realize is so powerful about this, I thought this was bad because he could take. What I don't realize is he's taking a pawn. I get the rook. And then what? If he takes this way, I get his bishop. If he takes my bishop, I get his rook. So I come back. I come back with that pin. But I don't see it. I don't see it, and then the game kind of falls apart after that. He gets a queen, and I resign at a certain point. Last game. I miss a mate, but who's gonna win, right? That's the interesting thing. First of all, what the hell is this opening? Karo Khan, yes, that's my response, but he's just pushing pawns. I'm like, this looks way too overextended. I have to be able to take advantage of this. Let me push this pawn forward. I was right. But I didn't need to do the queen move. I just didn't need to. I was scared of coming here and getting trapped. And I pushed this pawn. I was supposed to bring my knight into the game. And we're just going to blitz through this a little bit. Because it was kind of interesting. I sacked my knight here to have this open file. I'm losing. I'm just losing. I sacked a knight. My king is not really safe, but I'm losing. And I see this attack on my pawn. So I do this. If I came here and he took, this is mate. Wait. Yeah, that is mate. Right now it's not because the knight blocks it. And I think that's why I kind of disregarded the h3 square. I was too focused on this idea and I was like, shit. You know? But I was like, you know what? Let me save my rook. And I have 2 rooks. I'm going to sack a rook. I don't know. I'm going to get into the... I hadn't made it like 3 turns in a row, man. 1, 2. You know, that's 2 turns. I just have a clear, easy mate. Like, finish the day. Feel, like, amazing. That being said, I do win his other rook. And he takes my pawn with his queen. And at that point, I'm like... I think that's a good time to stop. So my rating is 1553. I started this challenge on January 1st. If we look at, well, I guess it doesn't really show. That was kind of disappointing. I have to like play around with the settings, but I got my highest rating, 1569, and now I'm 1553. So I can safely say I'm 50-50 right now. Hopefully by the end of the month I reach 1600. I think it's doable. And thanks for watching, guys, and have a great one.